Finally, maybe, the Aruban Justice Minister is talking. It's been 3.5 years. Joins by phone from Aruba is Jussi Mansour, publisher and managing editor of Diario newspaper. Jussi, what did the Justice Minister say, and does it have any impact whatsoever in Aruba?
Well, he's saying a lot of important things that have a lot of impact here in Aruba. He has openly and publicly accused the ex-chief of police, Jan van der Straten, that he refused to arrest Joran van der Sloot because he was the son of his best friend, Paulus.
And does that make any difference to anybody in Aruba?
It does make a difference to many people here in Aruba, of course, because coming from the Minister of Justice, who is in charge of the police, who is in charge, he's the director of the police corps and the investigative team that occupied itself with the case of the disappearance of Natalee. Of course it's important.
Does he have any proof that the chief of police did this or that there's a cover-up?
Well, he doesn't have any proof as such outside of other declarations of other people who have heard the same kind of statement before.
Is our interview with Joran van der Sloot pushing any investigation further? Are they taking it at all seriously? Because they still haven't asked for it. They haven't asked for the records that we think could either prove or disprove. But is it having any impact whatsoever in Aruba?
I think it had a lot of impact worldwide. I mean, we saw this man lie again, lie his head off. He doesn't care if it's publicly or whatever. And I think that it hasn't stirred the prosecution to the degree that they should be after him by now. Because
in the conversation that we had with Joran, he claims that the voice on the tape is his father. And obviously the prosecutor could prove that or disprove that. He can have subpoena power and do that. We can't. I mean, we can't get a first-generation tape from his father and do that. Is it likely that the prosecutor will do that? Because, frankly, if it turns out that is his father's voice, his father, under what he said, is up to his eyeballs in something.
Yeah, of course. We know he was involved from the beginning. And after the new witness that came forward, Mr. Herman, who saw Joran walking, his clothes all muddy, and that later he saw him in the car with Paulus van der Sloot, then we assume, and it's been certified by this man, that the man who took Joran van der Sloot to his home that night after Natalee disappeared was his father. So he is involved from the beginning.
Jussi, thank you, and we hope that there's a full, fair, and complete investigation sometime. Thank you, Jussi.
Okay.
Let's bring in our panel. Joining us live, our criminal defense attorneys, Michael Cardoza, Ted Williams, and Bernie Grimm. Michael, do you want to start?
Sure. I mean, does this surprise me that there's something of a cover-up? No. I mean, it's a small island. What the Minister of Defense is saying makes absolute sense. I mean, we've known this right from the get-go. We knew there was some sort of delay, cover-up. They wait 10 days before they arrest Joran. What should they do now? The Dutch really should step in. I'm a little bit suspect of Croes, the Minister of Justice, because he waits this long to come forward and say something. Why'd he wait this long? Everybody's pointing fingers now at each other, but somebody neutral has to come in and resolve this. They've got enough to prosecute this kid, and this kid is hateful.
Earlier this morning on Greta Wire, posted asking people to contact the Dutch embassy to finally get them to do something. A lot of people contacted the Dutch embassy. I have to go back and read the comments, but the Dutch embassy here in the United States does need to, since this is part of the kingdom. All right, Bernie, this is what slays me, that Hans Moss is more worried about what John Q. Kelly says on TV about him than wanting to even to look at the tape, investigate, do any of this stuff. I mean, it's stunning to me.
It would be as if Eric Holder got offended that someone said something about a Department of Justice investigation, a civil rights investigation in Mississippi, and he called the person and said, "Don't leave those messages, you're upsetting me." I mean, I don't know what to say. I can't say it even on Fox, this sort of racy, classy network, that I want to say. But the Dutch, Cardoza's right. Either the Dutch or the FBI, somebody with some level of competence needs to get involved instead of us just playing tennis from the baseline here.
You know, I've talked about the word corroboration in this investigation. Rudy Cruz has come out, Greta, and represented that there was a cover-up with this guy Van Susteren and Paulus. Now, if you remember, a few nights ago, you interviewed someone who had gone down to Aruba who could corroborate, and this is what one of your viewers who came on this show, Ennis, said. Van Susteren told us, he said, quote, "I don't think I could arrest my best friend's son. I am his godfather, and I honestly don't think he's guilty. He's a witness." Now, this was somebody independent of that island that you talked to on this show, and that person is now corroborated. So there is some nexus, and I really believe that clearly there is a cover-up.
Bernie, it's like, what is it? Why won't they do this? I mean, you'd think they'd have a sense of decency. I mean, here, there's a missing person. There are a lot of missing persons all over the world, but they're worried about about being insulted on TV.
It seems that they dug their heels in, and Natalee has become the non-issue in the case, and their position and self-righteousness and soapbox position with the media seems to be
Bernie,
what they're obsessing about.
Maybe that's now, but go back to June of �05. This was the same behavior in June '05 before they even met us. Look, it's stunning.
It's troubling. I mean,
you know,
from the outset, when Van der Sloot and his boys said, "Listen, the black guys did it," after that, everything was downhill.
Bernie, there's a bottom line here. The Dutch needs to get involved. The Netherlands needs to have an independent investigation. They cannot police themselves on that island.
Michael, you got 15 seconds, and we got to go.
All right, you know what's so hateful about this is that this kid says, a lot, you're right, but this kid says that she's dead, she died in his arms, then later he says, oh no, she's alive and she's in Venezuela. Think how the parents feel here. Think how they're pulled. They ought to try to...
No, stop right there, Michael. Come on. Then 30 days later, he's having a conversation that's taped, and he's talking about her as though she's alive. And this prosecutor, Karen Janssen, wouldn't do anything. The police wouldn't do anything. The Minister of Justice wouldn't do anything. They've been dragging their heels.
Agreed.
Holland's sitting up there. Holland's doing nothing. They're all doing nothing because they don't care and they want this to go away. And
they got enough to prosecute this kid. They have enough to prosecute him now.
They're worried about whether or not John Q.
They got
Kelly said
enough.
something.
Take
They're
your
horrible.
choice.
It's horrible. Panel, stand by. Here's what's coming up after this show on the O'Reilly Factor.